All right, we are live. Welcome everyone. Welcome to the channel. Welcome to the. I always say we have a name, but we're gonna get to that. This is a channel where we are documenting our process of trying to build a company from $0 from scratch to a company that makes $1 million in revenue every single year. That's the journey that we are on, and over the past few days, you've probably noticed that I've been having a hell of a time with just thinking that I'm not headed in the right direction, and I don't really know what kind of company that I want to build, and is this really my passion? Is this really my interest? Yada yada yada. Just really trying to figure things out, going through like a company midlife crisis kind of thing. But I think it's time. Just no more just bullshitting around. I feel like I've been letting my mind go down this path. It's kind of a pattern, I think, of me, where I go down this path of doing something, starting to doing well, but then not feeling really good about it, or maybe it's not going as fast as I want to, or what have you, or things aren't heading the direction that I think they should be going in. And then I start to question everything. And then this whole self-doubt and self-talk kind of ends up creeping in and tries to force me to say, hey, you know what? It didn't work. I got to try something else. So I think there was a lot of that going on. And it's something that over the past like 24 hours, I've really been kind of thinking and trying to recognize these patterns. And I think that's what's happening here, is that I kind of got into my head that I just had to switch directions because of, XYZ in terms of how he's feeling. And am I frozen? Okay, no, I'm not frozen. Anyways, so I was just thinking to myself, just being really, really real with myself yesterday. And I've just came to the conclusion that, well, anyway, let's just talk about it. Let's just talk about how I want to move forward and what I want to do. There's a little bit of slight changes into the things that I am doing. So I think that'll what was the word? Help. I think it'll help clarify where it is that I want to go, so that I know what it is that I need to do, kind of like on a day-to-day basis. Okay, so number one, Pixel Media is still going to be a thing. Well, it was always going to be a thing. What I was deciding for yesterday, what I was kind of thinking of is Pixel going to be my main thing, or should it just be something that helps me generate revenue in order for me to figure out what the real thing is going to be, and all this complexity. And I was just like, that's just kind of stupid. And yes, I don't want to be a web designer for the rest of my life. And yeah, it sucks that I have to sit down and be in front of a computer because of the pain that I'm having, which is maybe making me think that things are worse than they are in terms of doing web design. So I need to focus on, number one, fixing like myself in terms of my health, and then fixing my seating environment and my desk setup. If I have to spend money to get the best desks or chairs and setup or whatever, then so be it. And I'm just thinking that this is my livelihood, and I've never spent more than like I said, the one time I bought an expensive chair, but usually I'm sitting like, this is like an $80 IKEA chair that has like no support, and the height goes up and down all the time. It's just a piece of crap, right? So I got to spend the money to get the gear that I need to help me do the best work. So like invest in myself in that sense. So that's number one, fix my whole situation so I don't have pain, or I can minimize my pain and fix myself in terms of eating healthier, working out, all that stuff. And so Pixel Media, that's still going to be a thing. That's still going to be the thing. But the question is, what am I going to be focusing on Pixel? I don't know quite yet, because there's lots of different ideas out there of things that I could potentially do. And as you know, the past week I've been changing up what like the content that was on the website in terms of offering up a whole bunch of different solutions to kind of say like, hey, listen, we're open for business. If you need anything creative, let's see what we can do together. But there's a few ideas I guess I could touch base with right now, or I can kind of go over. So number one, there's the idea that I had of kind of creating or helping people create kind of course materials, whether that's a mix of video production as well as course materials, and then the website as well. When I say course materials, things like actual printable PDFs and books and all that kind of stuff. And then of course the website that goes along with that as well too. So there's kind of like focusing on that, on like the course community kind of building, which I've talked about quite at length before. So there's that aspect of it. But I've really been thinking about how to commoditize Pixel as, yes, it's a service, but if I can maybe productize it a little bit more, so that way I could have, what's the way to put this? It's almost like the best bang for your buck, where I could do the least amount of work for the most amount of gain, in the sense of how I productize my business. And one thing that I will say, I'll bring this up here actually, because this is a really interesting company, really cool company. So there's this company here called DesignJoy. I don't know if you've ever heard of this before, but this is literally a one-man team, and this person does design on demand. So basically, if you go to like see plans, you scroll down, these are the things that this guy will design for you. If you need slide deck or banners, resumes, anyways, all this stuff, he will design that for you. And there's a simple membership. It's a membership based fee, as opposed to a what's the word I'm looking for? For like a service-based fee. Like, you know, if you're negotiating with a client to say, okay, you need this and this and this, and that's going to cost you like $30,000. Instead, what it is, it's that there's a monthly fee, or quarterly, yearly, whatever you want to subscribe to, and you get one request at a time. And a request is going to take a certain amount of time. You know, maybe it's 24 hours, 40 hours, whatever. I guess it depends on the request. And then that's what gets worked on. So it's one thing at a time. So it's a really cool idea. And this guy, you know, he's saying, you know, I think he gets like, makes like 100K a year just on the subscriptions alone. 100K a month. Right. So at $5,000, so he has like 20 clients, right, that are each paying $5,000 a month. So, and it's just him just doing the design work. And that's something that's pretty reasonable in terms of, you know, if a client comes in and says, oh, I need this graphic or banner, it's, you know, you just work on it at your own pace or what have you, and then you just kind of do the stuff. So that's really cool. Now, I don't want to do this in terms of being like just doing design. But if is there a way, which I'm sure there is a way, to move this over to more of the web design principles? So if somebody wants a website, they need someone, number one, to design it, but then number two, to manage it, so that you can have a fee for building the website, but then also a fee for managing the website on a recurring basis. So that way, I'm sure I've talked about this before. So if you have a person and it's, you know, just say it's $500 a month. So, and then if you have 10 customers, then you're making $5,000 a month, right? And then if you have 100 customers, and all of a sudden you're making $50,000 a month, right? So you can see how that can scale. And so maybe, yeah, you have to hire on more people to help with the work, but it's something that you can see how it can scale, and it also has kind of like consistent monthly like recurring revenue, right? Which is kind of like I'm not gonna say the holy grail, but it's a really good thing if a company can outline and project how much revenue it's going to generate. That's a really good thing, whether it's for investors or you want to sell the company or whatever, right? So I've been thinking about that and how to commoditize or productize web design services. Do I want to do that or not? I don't know. I still don't know, right? But because it's a completely different client. A client that is going to pay $100,000, $150,000 for a website, they're not going to want to have some, you know, here's just a company, I'll just pay a monthly fee and then I just get a website done. So those are two completely different clientele, right? So, so I'd have to rethink that. And there's also the option of creating multiple, like two different parts of Pixel. Like one part offers this like subscription package, and the other one is like the premium high level, you know, walk you through whatever it is that you want. Is that going to be too much to start with? I don't know. So anyways, but that's what I'm trying to figure out. And of course, going back to my core issue of like, this isn't what I want to do. And this isn't, you know, kind of the thing that I wake up every morning and be passionate about. I think I need to frame my mind and just change my perception here, or change my frame to think more about this is a means to an end, where I'm using the skills that I have now to create something that will eventually bring me to do the things that I really, really love doing. And if I can create a company, number one, create a company that can help other people in terms of give them work or what have you, that's fantastic. But then it'll also take the tedious stuff about running a business away from me, which is the design and the development process. And then I could focus on the things that I really do enjoy, because even just interacting with you guys, doing these videos and just talking about business in general, I find really, really fun and engaging, and learning about how to run a business company. That's really, I think that's like more of a personal growth thing for me now, because I've never done that before. So that's really kind of exciting on a personal level. So I just have to reframe and rethink how I think about things. And I think that's going to do wonders for me. And I just need to keep moving forward. Like every day, I have to make sure that what I'm doing is going to help out. So, and I think that'll really help with this live stream, how I'm going to move forward with structuring what I'm going to be talking about, because I have a clear, at least in my head now, I have a much clearer path or a much clearer destination of where I want to go, and then laying out the path of how I'm going to get there. So that being said, so that's just the one thing I've been thinking about the Pixel. So that's still going to be a thing. Now, there's one other main part of that, and that's this live stream and this whole idea of building a business and trying to build a company that's worth $1 million, trying to be a millionaire or what have you. And to accompany this process, I've talked about this before of the podcast. So I'm going to 100% move ahead with a podcast, and I framed it in such a way that I'm really excited about it, is that I'm going to create a website along with this podcast, which is going to be like my branded website of learning and documenting the whole process of creating a company. And it's going to be dedicated specifically to people that want to be, or that are like me, that want to learn how to make a business, build a business, learn all the ins and outs and all the different pieces about running a business. And that's going to be, and part of that is going to be the podcast, where we're going to talk to all kinds of different entrepreneurs that are in their various stages of their journey. And then it's also going to be complemented with probably like a newsletter / blog, where people could, sign up and join the newsletter or what have you, to get information of things that I've learned, things that I'm learning, things that I've implemented, things that have worked, that haven't worked, and what have you. And that'll be something that people can receive in their inbox kind of on a weekly basis. And I'm really excited about that, because it really brings my passion and my desire to create something that is going to be, number one, for me, that's going to help me create a lot of money. But then number two, it's also going to be able to create something in the future where I could really, like, my passion for like helping and wanting to teach and all that kind of stuff, I think that will be met in the future if I could build something that, like, imagine if I actually, I'm going to, so I'm not going to say if I actually, when I build a company that is worth $1 million, or that generates $1 million in revenue every year, which will be a company that's worth more than $1 million. Maybe it could be worth upwards of $5 to $10 million. Anyways, when I get to that point, there's going to be a lot of lessons learned that I'm going to be able to teach people, so that, they don't make the same mistakes that I do, whatever, that they can get to where I am as well, blah, 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 all that great stuff. So I'm going to be able to teach around that whole subject of entrepreneurship, building a business, all that stuff. And there's going to be lots of things that I'm going to need to learn as well too. It's like, how do I get from that million to 10 million? I feel like there's different stages and different levels, that, if you're just 2 steps ahead of someone behind you, you could teach that person what those 2 steps are. So yeah, I have no idea right now how to make $1 million, but I've made a company that already has generated $100,000 in revenue. So if someone's at zero, they're like, how do I even get started? How do I get to 100,000? There's things that I'm probably, could put on my website or whatever to teach and talk about my experience and get there, and offer, even if it's not so much teaching, but just saying like, hey, this is what I've done, and this is what I think would be a good idea. Here's some advice that you can try, different things that you can do because it's worked for me, and, give it a shot, right? So there's lots of potential along the lines of having this Pixel go in one direction, because that's the business I'm building, and then this other thing. And I have a couple of names that I want to try. Well, maybe I'll just, what is it? What did I say it's going to be? Oh yeah, this one. Okay. So I've been throwing around some ideas for names of what this is going to call. So what the podcast is going to be called, and then what like the website is going to be called. And I've been playing around with a few different things, but I'm pretty sure I've come up with this final one. So I'm not going to say all the other ones that I've been contemplating. So this podcast and this whole website about learning together how to build a business, and then in the future it's going to be, how can you build a business and blah, blah, blah. I'm going to call it Unconventional Mindset. So I really love that because especially the trouble that I've been having is, how do you get your mind put in a way so that you can get rid of all the noise, get rid of the fear, get rid of the doubts and all this self-negative talk that you're going to have. How can you get your mindset in a way that's going to allow you to move forward into a way that is really, it's unconventional. It's a way that most people don't think, because the way that we're programmed in society to think is, you got to go to school, you got to get a job, you got to work for somebody, you got to trade your time for money, you got to work for 40 years and then you get a retirement, blah, blah, blah. And like that mindset, like to me anyways, that's not for me. That's not the way I want to go. And there's a lot of people that I think like me in terms of not wanting that. So the unconventional mindset, those are for people that want to do things differently, that want to think outside of the box, that want to live outside of the box and not be bound by the conformities or the boundaries or whatever that society puts on people. So I don't want that. I don't want to have to, work at a specific city or be told that I need to get up at 9:00 and drive across town and sit in traffic for an hour and a half and have to sit down at a desk or whatever and deal with a boss that I think is stupid or what have you. All that garbage, not for me. So the unconventional mindset, we're going to get together, we're going to create something, and we're going to learn together on this. And I'm super pumped. I'm really excited. And all that talk, again, that I had over the past few days, maybe it helped me get to where I am like today in this state of mind. Maybe it was a good process for me to go through, because I kind of came up with this thing of like, hey, listen, this is what you're going to do. Number one, you're going to build this company with Pixel because it's going great so far. You're good at design. You're good at development. You do like it. Maybe it's not your most fun thing ever in the world, but you do like it. So fix your working conditions to make sure that it's even better. Put some processes in place that'll make things even better, more organized in the work that you do. Have that. Start your podcast, start talking to like-minded people and get yourself out there. Start interacting with the community. Go not knocking on doors, but knocking on business doors. Get to know all the local businesses that are around here. Talk to them, tell them what you do, learn about what it is that they do, see if there's any ways that we can work together so we can better ourselves. And then just document that process as well on a website. And so other people can learn from the things that I'm learning. And in the future, we're going to get to the point where A, Pixel Media is going to be making $1 million. And then B, we're going to be able to take all that information and knowledge learned from making $1 million, a business worth $1 million, to teaching other people how they can do the same thing, right? So that's where we're going to go. That's the future. That's the roadmap. And after all the bullshit that I put myself through and put you guys through over the past week or so, we're now clear. We know exactly what our direction is going to be. And that's that. So I'm going to leave it at that for today. Thank you so much for watching. A little bit of a short video today, but I just wanted to say for a fact how we're moving forward. And starting tomorrow, we're going to outline what steps it is that we're going to need to take so that we make sure that when we're coming here every single day, we know what we need to do in order to build the company that we want to build. So thanks for watching and appreciate your patience, and we'll see you tomorrow.